Alright, it's time to duel! Alright, so we just got back from seeing the latest 20th anniversary Yu-Gi-Oh movie, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of the Dimension. And so if you guys don't know, I'm actually a really huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan. And one of the early anime conventions, I actually dressed up as Pharaoh Yugi, or Atem, from the last manga arc of the series, just because of how much I liked it. You know, the funny thing about it is, as much as I loved the series, I never actually got into the card game and everything. So when they announced like this movie, I was actually more than excited for it. And if you guys don't know, this actually, so 2016 is actually the 20th anniversary for Yu-Gi-Oh! They just spent about almost 6 months translating the movie, because I believe this came out in March of last year in Japan. And I actually really enjoyed it. It's a really cool movie for Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans and people growing up with the show and everything. So my expectations actually going in wasn't really that high, and that's because Yu-Gi-Oh! Does not have a really good track record for their movies. This is the actual 4th movie. So the first movie never came to America, and then the second movie is Pyramid of Light. The movie that came out a few years ago was Bonds Beyond Time. And so just to let you guys know, if you haven't seen the other 3 movies, they're really basically a long version of the card game from the series, and they really have like really one big card battle. Pyramid of Light actually had 2. One of them was really short, and then the other one was the remainder of the movie. And so I was really expecting this first, the runtime of this movie. It was 2 hours and 10 minutes! I was really shocked about this. I was like, when I like looked it up and everything, I had to double check. To me, a 2-hour Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, that's really unheard of. The first movie was, I think, 20 minutes. I think it was shorter than the actual episode. Just to let you guys know, the first movie was actually done with Toei, and this was before it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, but it was still, they still did a whole movie with Yugi and Kaiba playing the card game. The second movie, which was made for American audiences, that was like 90 minutes, which is kind of what's expected. Heroes Beyond Time, that was only an hour, and the only reason it got to an hour is because 4Kids TV, they actually added an extra 10 minutes just to add to the running time, and all it was just a summary of the other 3 series that they were talking about. So 2 hours and 10 minutes, I was a little worried about this, and I was so relieved that it was not just whoever Yugi fighting whichever villain that they choose and them just playing one big card game. There's actually a lot of story into this, which I really liked it. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, you know, I always say this, like, whenever they fight, instead of fighting with weapons, they fight with cards. I mean, there's at one point where the villain, his name is Diva, and I already forgot what his other name was. But when he goes and finds Kaiba to get rid of him and everything, immediately what he does is he pulls out a deck of cards and ready to go and duel, because, you know, that's how they fight instead of with guns. That's another thing about this movie. I was actually really shocked. So the American, when they brought the show into America, they edited it heavily, like really heavy. Edited out all the guns. There's one of my favorite edits is like there's a scene in the original series where two security guards, they point their guns on Kaiba and everything. In the 4Kids version, it's them pointing their fingers at Kaiba. It looks so ridiculous. But there is actually a scene where we actually see a gun. I was like, hey, that's actually really cool. They didn't actually edit that out. Now, movie-wise, so Heroes Beyond Time, what they did was they kept the original track, the original music track and everything, and they just put the American voice actors over the characters, and they just kind of rush it out here. I can tell the reason why this one took so long, which is now 4K media, since 4Kids has been disbanded, but I believe it's the same people who works in 4K. I didn't really go into that history. What they did was they actually edited this movie for the dub to be like the American dub that what people grew up with, which I do think that was a wise decision, because when people are going to go see this movie for America, there's going to be people who actually grew up with the only Yu-Gi-Oh that they watched. Now, me personally, I actually watched the Japanese dub, and because I really didn't like the American dub that much, because it was too heavily edited for me. And the way I actually watched it was I actually went and bought the Hong Kong DVDs. The subtitles were awful. I just remember they kept calling Kaiba horse, and Yugi sometimes they would call him game, and just all that kind of stuff. And this one, they really cater to the American audience, which I really think it was a really good idea. What I'm really hoping for when this gets released on DVD and Blu-ray, which hopefully won't take 3 years like Heroes Beyond Time did, hopefully they will actually have a dual audio track, and they'll actually have the original Japanese with the American dub, just so I can actually see what it was originally. But over here, they take out the music. The music is the typical rock, MIDI, synthesized Yu-Gi-Oh music. They actually use some of the songs from the Yu-Gi-Oh soundtracks. Well, I think there was only one that was released back in the early 2000s when Yu-Gi-Oh was a huge hit. I mean, we get the corny lines. Oh my god, the corny lines. I mean, it was hilarious hearing, but yeah, the corny lines in there. And I mean, you get to hear the catchphrases. It's time to duel. Heart of the cards. Everything.
Very well, Kaiba. I draw.
Everything that you grew up watching Yu-Gi-Oh on Kids of B is going to be actually in this movie, and most of the voice actors return, which is actually really cool. And I think there's only a few I can think of right off the top of my head where they weren't the original, but they're all there. The important characters are voiced by the people that you know. Yugi and Mokuba, they've aged. You can see that they kind of got a little older. The movie itself, it takes place after the series, and actually Yugi and his friends, Joey, Tristan, Taya, they all are graduating from high school. And so only those two characters you see just some age differences there, not too much, but you really see it in Mokuba. Yugi's kind of a little more subtle. The rest of the characters, they look the same, which, to be honest, the way they've already been drawn is the way they are. Now, Kaiba actually does get a little redesign. Kaiba gets abs. He gets defined abs, under his shirt. And, you don't see him without a shirt. Sorry, ladies. You don't see him without a shirt. But, with his black shirt, he either got, a tighter shirt, or he just worked out in between in between the end of the series and to the movie. Maybe it's because he wants to kind of impress the Pharaoh. As you see in this movie, he has this almost unhealthy obsession about wanting to bring the Pharaoh back so he could duel him again. The enemy, Diva, he actually wants to prevent that for his own reasons, and just that basically if the Pharaoh comes, he goes away. It's weird anime Yu-Gi-Oh nonsense, but animation wise, this is probably the best I've seen of Yugi. Now, I don't watch the current series. I think it's Arc V now. Like, honestly, after the original series ended, I haven't really got into the other series. Because I was more into the Egypt arc than I was the card game. And the other series just seems to be concentrated more on the card game. Towards the beginning of the movie, they actually reanimate one of the last scenes from the final episode. Especially that scene where Yugi like walks to the door with his thumbs up like that, yeah. And it looks awesome, and especially the monsters. The monsters are done in CG, which is actually really cool. Something my wife noticed because she's the animation expert, as she's the animator. The movie does a lot of animation cheats. So what they do is there's a lot of still images, but like they have like some like the CGI, either the CGI monsters or some of like the just like the orange rain. If you guys see the movie, you'll understand what that is. That just kind of comes in to kind of distract you, so you don't realize that the actual image itself is actually been still, and that just the animation that they put over it is the only thing that's moving. Which is actually, like, not a bad way to do it. Overall, as much as I love the American dialogue, it does get, like, really cheesy. We have just really corny jokes in there, and it just almost kind of beats you in the head with it. Like I said, if you grew up with the American series, you're going to actually like that. That's why I'm kind of more interested to see how the Japanese series is, but I'm pretty sure the Japanese dub is probably not going to be that much different. There is one point towards the beginning of the movie, you see Kaiba fighting with the deck, and he's fighting actually Atem, the pharaoh. And it's one of those scenes where it's like, oh, okay. He's revealing that it's going to be revealed that this is going to be a simulation. And you would think like that's going to be like, 2 minutes tops. No, they go through a full card battle from beginning to end. And then it's like, and then everything clears out. It's like, oh, it was a simulation the whole time. That just kind of ran a little too long just to prove the point of it's a simulation. So we got like crazy card game rules that doesn't really apply to all the fights, but some of the fights I really didn't fully understand it, and but it didn't really. That part didn't even really grasp my attention in the first place. We get to see some cameo characters in here too. We see Solomon Muto, Yugi's grandfather. We see him. We also see Itogi and Shizuka. I apologize, I forget what their American names are because I watch more of the Japanese subtitle than I did with the actual English dub. Shizuka is Joey's sister, and Itogi is the guy with the dice. So if you guys know in the comments, below, go ahead and write that down so I can remember. Most of the movie does the English version, representative of the show for it in the dub. There is one pivotal scene in the climax where they chose to do the Japanese sound effect instead of the American sound effect, which I was actually really surprised with because the American sound effect is very iconic, and I was almost kind of expecting it, but I was actually really happy that they instead chose the Japanese version, especially the way it plays out, and most of that part that follows is kind of silent. So just having the American sound effect just would have really just ruined that moment, and I'm actually really happy that they did not do that. Overall, I had a great time watching this movie. Like I said, I really enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! If you really enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh!, you will really enjoy this movie. Oh, if you've never seen Yu-Gi-Oh!, I wouldn't go see with this, especially since this takes place like way after the series. So you're just gonna get lost. There's really nothing here that'll make you familiarize with the characters or really know what their story is, other than the characters they introduced just for this movie as well. I really hope for the DVD and Blu-ray that it's going to be dual track like they did with Heroes Beyond Time, and hopefully it won't take 3 years for it to come. Like, I'm serious. Heroes Beyond Time took 3 years to come on DVD and Blu-ray. Like look it up. It took forever. I almost forgot about it until I saw it in stores. All right. If you guys saw the movie, let me know. If you haven't and you're a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, definitely go see it. And hopefully you can find a theater. We had to actually drive to a theater that was an hour away. They only had 1 showing per day, so we had to schedule ourselves around this movie. So hopefully you fans have better luck to see this than we did. But we did, and hopefully when you get your card won't be split like this. Yeah, that kind of sucks. But if you guys did see the movie, I'm curious to know what you guys think, and let me know if you actually really like Yu-Gi-Oh, whether it's the subtitle or the Kids OB dub, which I know a lot of people probably watched more than the subtitle. I want to hear about it. Alright, just go ahead, put it down in the comments below, and until next time, guys. Alright, we'll see ya.